One, we're live. Hi, everybody. Very good evening to all of you from Berlin, Germany. We have today a couple of new faces in the studio with us. My name is Mike, as always, and this is coming to you from Opportunity Pulse in collaboration with Settling, promoting an upcoming event from the Ugandan community, and we're going to hear more about the event shortly. I'd like to thank everyone who has tuned in and also to our guest speakers joining us here for the first time. And to everyone who is also watching us across the different media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and so on. This is very exciting. And for those of us that have been following the content from Opportunity Pulse and Settling, we are all about sustainable life in diaspora, how to come, how to settle, and how to thrive. And more importantly, never forgetting where we come from. And that's the key thing which we're going to be discussing today. So without taking further time, I'll pass it on to Stephen. And then all the guest speakers are going to introduce themselves briefly and we get into the gist for this evening. Stephen.
Thank you very much, Mike. Again, my name is Stephen Bwete, co-host and also co-founder of Opportunity Pulse, also chairperson of the Uganda community in Berlin, Brandenburg, e.V., and one of the executive coordinators, organizers of this BECO 2026 in Berlin. I'm so delighted and honored. Mike, we keep talking about settling in and not forgetting where we're coming from, right?
100%, yeah.
And I think for the first time, we are talking about something which is very key, and that is how do we keep in touch, in line with the roots? How do we keep together? How do we keep the culture? How do we remain proud and keep and pass on these cultures, the way we come from? And today we have very many people online. I'm so happy to have, I'll go by protocol, OHT, Mr. Frank Chambade. I'll give him a chance to introduce himself, and then I'll go to the next speaker. Mr. Chambade. I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
Frank, you're on mute.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Steve, Mike, Precious, then Frank, and all those on. My name is Frank Chambade, the coordinator, BECO Berlin 2026. In our community, I'm the treasurer, and I'm part of this lovely team here organizing this main event in May 2022nd to 2024 Berlin. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you. Frank Chambade is, like you said, the treasurer of the Uganda community in Berlin and Brandenburg. But if we go by protocol in the SAZA, he will be talking more about that. He is actually my leader, and he will be talking more about that as we go on. And I would like to introduce, according to protocol, Precious. Precious, kindly introduce yourself and tell your viewers and listeners, where are you right now joining us from, and why are you here?
Thank you so much, Stephen. My name is Precious Fisher. I originally come from Uganda, but I stay in Lauenburg. It's found in Schleswig-Holstein near Hamburg. So it's actually 40 kilometers from Hamburg. And I work as an accountant. I did business and business administration. And well, in BECO, I am the head of the finance of BECO. And I'm glad to have everyone here. I'm excited for this opportunity since it's the first time for me to be here. And I'm really pleased to listen to or to share with many people about our culture, about our country, about where we are, about so that we share different experiences. And I'm really excited. And I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a great delight to have you here, Precious. And also, we do have a very strong name in the Ugandan community in Berlin who goes by the names of Frank Mutebi, who is joining us as well. I would request him to introduce himself and tell us why this topic matters to him that we are going to talk about.
Yeah, thank you all guys who are around. My name is Frank Mutebi. I'm the Data and Protection Officer of our organization. And I think the topic we are going to discuss today is very important to all of us, no matter in which country you are. It has to do with the cultural background, but also transferring that cultural awareness to some of you are parents here, to your kids, so that we always have grassroots or new guys coming up to continue with our cultural values. So it's a great opportunity for me personally. I'm also not a professional about my own culture, but having people who are really too deep into that, it's also an opportunity for me to get to know and to learn more about it. So I'm looking forward for all of you who are going to have a short kind of introduction or a discussion on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank, for joining us on this at a very short notice. We appreciate that. And without wasting further time, I would like to go straight into the topic to Mr. Frank Chambade. Frank, you've introduced yourself and you've left out one title. I would like to go straight into the topic. Explain to anyone who is watching or listening, what is BECO and why should anyone even be interested in knowing what is BECO 2026 in Berlin?
Well, thank you, Chairman. We've heard of the word BECO, but one would love to know what BECO actually means.
Yeah.
In simple terms, sorry, BECO stands for Buganda Bumu European Convention, and this is a biennial culture and community platform across Europe that brings together members of Buganda community, the partners, friends, and basically a wider community. So why BECO in Berlin? We had to bring it in Berlin. We had to bring the roots in Berlin, and we came up with what we think is a better theme that can suit our purpose. And the theme for this event is preserving heritage and navigating modernity in the diaspora, mainly looking at balancing our tradition and modernity, because lots of things happen and we really need to be on board. So that's mainly about our theme. It's about staying connected, who we are, while as growing different societies, home and currently this side. So that's a little intro about BECO. Maybe what I can say, it started way back in London, United Kingdom. That was in September. That's when we had the first convention, and it has now grown into an, can I say, a Europe-wide platform, moving from states to states. That's what I can say. And mainly more to talk about is what entails inside here, maybe the topics mainly that are covered. We look at education and skills, we look at entrepreneurship, but above all, we look at culture and our identity. Then we talk a little bit into marriage and modernity life. Then the best thing, building relationships across communities. That's the main target here that we want. So that's a little of it. Maybe if I'm to dive a little into structures, German subscribes to the Sazerainland, which is led by Oweshiti Waseka-Jugo. In these Sazas, let's call them chapters. We have also Sweden, which is led by Oweshiti Nelson Mugenyi. Then we have UK and Ireland, which is led by Oweshiti Godfrey Chibuka. So those are the chapters that we look at. We can look at them as regional chapters that keep communities connected across Europe. Yeah, maybe that's what I can say about it, the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, Chairman.
I was on mute. Thank you so much, Mr. Chambade, for explaining and giving us the background of this all about the chapters. And for those probably who have missed, Buganda is a kingdom, one of the most powerful kingdom in Uganda, comprising of about, according to recent statistics, of 15% of the population of Uganda, which is about 50 or 51 million people. 15% of these call themselves the Buganda. So the event that we are holding brings together those people in Europe and beyond. And those people, even those who live in Buganda and they subscribe to the kingdom cultures and norms, whether they come from the Buganda, the clan, whether they are Baganda, they also respect and they join. And I'm so happy that we have people that even have mixed backgrounds. And Precious is one of these people. Precious, what does this event mean for you as a Ugandan in diaspora who shares the cultural background between Baganda and probably other cultures that you want to tell us about, if you want?
Well, for me, it means a lot. It's a great thing for me to see, because I did not grow seeing it so much until I grew up, until actually I came to German. So though I grew up in Uganda, though I grew up in Kampala because I was born and raised in Kampala, and I still went to school in Kampala. So I grew up in the Buganda culture as well. But my mother comes from Kawale, so I grew up in a Mchiga home. So I tell my friends, guys, I'm more of a Mchiga than a Muganda. But I grew up seeing the two different cultures. For me, it was like a match together for me, because I speak Luganda and I would speak Luchiga as well. And I was raised by a Mnyankore guy. So for me, it is a harmonic thing. And the little thing I know about Buganda, this is a culture that embraces everybody. It embraces every tribe. That's what I grew seeing. And I am so glad that I'm in a community to pass it on, just as I saw it when I was a child. So it's a great honor for me to pass on what I was able to see and what I grew up seeing to other kids, especially the children that are born here. That includes my daughter, because children born here, they literally know nothing about Uganda. And I think it is an honor for me to be part of the team that is going to educate children here about the culture where we come from.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well said, Precious. Which actually explains or answers the question, because someone might be wondering, is this event only targeting the people from the central region, the Baganda people, or the people from the Buganda? You have basically answered that in your submission, that you are here because you feel like you have a lot to share with the community, the Buganda community or the Baganda community, but you have a different or a mixed background. And I would like to use the same line to transition to someone on this panel who is a person that has spent probably the most part of his life in Germany. Frank, you identify yourself as a Muganda person, but you've spent most of your time living in Germany. How hard is it, or how can you remain authentic to your cultural identity while still remaining true to the culture or the place where you are, Germany? How has this been possible for you?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. It's a credit I can give to both my parents, because they have tried their best to see that I remain a Ugandan and a Muganda, but also a thank to the community members. I remember when I joined the community in 2017, I had a deficit in some Luganda vocabularies and some understand, but now I'm a professional and I can really challenge some of you. Yeah, but to put that aside, it has been a combination whereby I used to go to Uganda and spend time with my great grandparents, getting to know more of my relatives. And I like to associate when I used to go there. I used to play football from different local teams, and it really helped me. I learned Uganda. I learned how to navigate, to understand exactly what culture means, but also being here for me, we are living today in a global world, and it's always better if we can understand the cultural differences. I think through that we can really live in harmony. And for example, as Frau Fisher said, she grew up in Buganda, but for me, even I was very surprised that she's a Muchiga girl. But so that shows that it's always nice to have the two. If you are from different sides and you live in a certain area, to understand the culture, because through that you are more open to the society, you see different things differently, and you can always be tolerant. So for me, I've always mixed my Uganda and the German, and always try to pick the best out of it, so that, as Frank mentioned about modernity, culture and modernity, I think for me, it's one of the aspects which really helped me to master the two sides very quickly, and also to understand that I'm here, but I'll never forget my roots. So this sometimes not easy, but if you are really mentally ready, it's possible. And I think it also makes you it makes you strong and certain when you face certain challenges, either here or back in Uganda. That's my short submission on that.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you very much, Frank, for that submission. I would like to go to my co-host, Mike. Yes, you come from Nigeria, but me and you have shared so much or often about connectivity or connecting to the roots. The dilemma that we have when we travel, when we migrate from home. And one of the things that you have identified is the digital space, how to use the digital space to remain connected to our roots. I would like to hear your perspective on this. How can Opportunity Pulse or other platforms like Settling contribute to this continuous discussion about culture and connectivity and remaining true and authentic and passing on those cultural values that we inherited?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Steve, for that question. When Frank was talking, some things were just coming through my mind. And interestingly, you also mentioned digital space. Because on one hand, yes, today the digital space makes it easy for us to connect. I talk to my parents very often. I can talk to my younger ones back home. And Frank mentioned how the parent would take him back, visit the grandparent and the relative, and you see that physical interaction, and you still stay rooted to your culture. On the other hand, there's of course the digital aspect where there are not a lot of things that to some extent, physical contact does have limitation, and that's where we now complement it with the digital aspect. But more importantly is when we are in a new location in the diaspora, how do we thrive? How do we grow? How do we succeed? If you look at Germany, even though it's not the most digitally advanced country, but you find out that you need this digital literacy, digital incorporation in your not just your daily life, but if you are an entrepreneur, it also becomes a lot easy and helpful for you to scale up. One thing that you and I have identified within the community is how far the entrepreneurs within the community, how far they go. And we can see the limitations when the digital skills are not there. And this is one area which I am genuinely passionate about. And we also see it in practice. Um, we are living abroad now for different years. You mentioned how long Frank has lived, same with Precious and also Frank. And what this translates to is it's like a transition. People are coming at different time. Just last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a wonderful session also here hosted by Opportunity Pulse and Settling about getting old in the diaspora, the young and the new generation being connected. So this transition of the knowledge of the culture, and not just from back home, but also here abroad, the experience that people have, how would that connection stay? And this is the essence also of the the digital technology aspect, helping to preserve this. We are all seated here across different locations. I'm in Essen, in Berlin, and then they're also from Schleswig Holstein. We're still connected and we're broadcasting across multiple platforms. People watching this not just in Germany but all over the world. So we cannot be with them in person, but we still connect somehow and we still pass on this message. And bringing it also to settling, it's also the whole point about information. Today, I am learning also about Frank's experience and how he's rooted. Even though he has spent more time in Germany, he still have deeper the Ugandan culture. There are some parents who have not really succeeded in doing this for their kids. I hope they can listen to this and also learn one or two things. And that's where the platform they're also building comes in. Be informed, learn from the experience of other people, and then you can get better at what you do. So we see how everything is connected. And I think I genuinely believe that also this is also why Beko becomes important. Because for a second, I was going to ask, if we are all connected digitally, why do we still need to meet in person? But it doesn't stop there. That personal interaction cannot be overwritten or replaced with digital interaction. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing in that very insightful aspect of digital space and how Opportunity Pulse, Settling, and all these other platforms like Ojurasoft, you didn't mention that, but I know that you're doing a lot to promote culture, to promote language, to promote innovation and creativity with that. I would like to go back to Frank Chambade or Owechitibwa, to ask one key question. When choosing a location or a venue of this kind of event, obviously, I'm sure there are certain things that you're looking at. You mentioned that Beko has moved from different locations. And coming to Rhineland, of course, we know this has also other states, like you have countries like the Netherlands or the Benelux, Belgium, Luxembourg. You have the Scandinavia. Why bring this event to Berlin? And why do you think people should pay attention to this city of Berlin coming this month of May 2026? Remember to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Thank you, Chairman. Why Beko Berlin 2026? We opted for Berlin because of some major aspects. One, we have quite a diverse and an international city and welcoming to everyone. Then the strong growing diaspora community in Berlin. So basically, these are some of the things that we looked at to bring it here, and the importance or the strength and the importance, which we thought Beko would create in Berlin. We are looking at the unity and belonging. Then we considered the culture exchange, not isolating, because as we see, Berlin has quite a diverse culture. Then we looked at the collaboration and networking section. Then definitely the growth for individuals and communities, because as we can see in Berlin, things are changing in and out every day. So these are some of the things that we looked at, and we believe that this Beko will bring people together, not just within the community, but across cultures, because we have several cultures. Yeah, so those are some of the aspects that we considered when we took on Berlin, mainly. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Like you mentioned, Berlin is the powerhouse of Europe. Berlin is the capital of Germany, the center of power. So I couldn't imagine any other city. I'm sorry, Mike and Precious, that we're talking about Berlin, but I'm sure that you agree that it's the powerhouse. If you're looking for any kind of leverage in terms of political capital, definitely Berlin is that place to be. Which I would like also to ask Frank, probably one of the longest to be in the city of Berlin. Why do you think Berlin is best suited for this kind of event?
Yeah, historically, Berlin has been very instrumental in German politics. And I think bring the event to Berlin, it's an opportunity also our visitors who are going to come from Uganda, if they have enough time, to learn a little history about Berlin. And when they go back, I think they can tell the people about the history of Berlin. Through that, I think it can harmonize the differences in Buganda, because Buganda, according to what I was told, it's a name which means collecting people from different areas, and then you make them one. So Stephen or Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that's very important for me for Berlin, because Berlin's now one big city, but historically it was divided, and bringing people or bring the event here in Berlin, because we are talking about history, culture, and also people are coming from home. When they get to know how Berlin was built and how Berlin is today and the history of Berlin, I think when they carry that back home, to me, they can use what they have learned from Berlin to help strengthen not only Uganda, not only Buganda Kingdom or Buganda region, but also in general our country. So for me, I think it's a great opportunity due to the cultural differences, the history, and the different cultures of people living here to bring the event here to Berlin. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Frank, and particularly that you brought the historical perspective of Berlin, the city of history. And for those who are going to come to Berlin, you're going to understand Berlin, the division of Berlin East and West, how Berlin has emerged to be what it is today, to be a global magnet, to attract so many cultures, a place of innovation and business. But also you've spoken about opportunities. For those who are coming, there are opportunities to see. Mike, you live here in Berlin, or you've lived in Berlin, and you are always in Berlin. What do you think a cultural event like this could benefit from a city like Berlin?
Yeah, Berlin is the most international city in Germany, the most culturally diverse city in Germany. And if you are looking for where you find people of diverse culture, including Africans, then I don't think you should look any farther away from Berlin. And also, yeah, still speaking about the cultural diversity, which means it also embraces it as well. And if you want Europe to know about the Bugandan culture, then there's no better place to go again than the capital of Europe, which is still Berlin, to showcase it. So, and I think these are some of the key things and the benefits which we can look forward to hosting the event in Berlin, because Berlin is the heart of Europe. And if the culture is being displayed there in Berlin, then Europe also gets to learn about this. Yeah. And maybe the Bundestag, who knows?
Yeah, of course. The Bundestag is the German parliament. Yeah, you correctly mentioned it's the powerhouse, the leverage of Europe, the centerpiece, and I believe Buganda as a region, but as a bloc, it has business interest, it has networking interest. There are lots of entrepreneurs who are coming, which Tiwa Franco will talk more about. There are people who are coming to exhibit or to bring ideas or to learn new things. So coming to a city like Berlin, I guess, is the best decision to make. And I would like to go back to Precious. You are a person of numbers and business and ideas. what do you think would be the biggest take home for anyone who is coming? Let's say those who are coming from different cities or from Uganda or from within Europe or outside of Europe, in terms of networking and business opportunities, what kind of benefits do you think they will take home with?
Thank you so much, Stephen. Well, that's a broad question for me. I think it depends on the person, and we are expecting different kinds of people with different professions, and some of them are entrepreneurs, as you just said. Some of them have different professions, and we're also expecting students as well. So I think there is a lot to give from Berlin and from German as well. For example, the students, I think if I would go back to the time I was in school, yeah, I think I would find it very interesting to visit Berlin, especially for kids that are doing history, because it is a place for me. When I just came, it was the first place I saw my history that I was learning in theory. I first saw it practical in Berlin. Yeah, those people, the guys that did, I think it was African nationalism. Those guys that learned that history about Hitler, about it is a sad story, yeah. But for me, it was nice. It was an enterprising thing. It was a motivating thing that I would stay in a country where I would see the reality of what I studied. So that is for the students. And I mean, they've got a lot to learn about the political status, how, like the falling of the wall of Berlin. I think if for someone who was a fanatic of history comes to Berlin, I think it's going to be very interesting and enterprising for them. Now, for the business guys, if you want, it depends on what opportunities you want in a country. And I assume that every business person that is coming to Berlin, they're targeting at getting clients or expanding their market or getting new clients on board. And I think Berlin has got a lot of companies to explore, to look at, to consider, and to think about. And Berlin has got a lot of business opportunities someone can venture into for those that are looking for investments or different kinds of investing or different opportunities to invest in. I think Berlin is the heart, just you guys said, though I would disagree with that, but Berlin is the heart. And for example, the Ugandan investors, for example, and they're targeting or they're looking for Ugandan customers at large. I think Berlin is second in German to having the largest numbers of Ugandans, for example, if I'm not mistaken, from Munich. Yeah. And so I think they would not go wrong by coming to Berlin, those that are looking at customers or that are looking for Ugandan clients that are staying in Berlin or are staying in German as at large. And Beko itself, we're expecting to have a lot of people, a lot of Ugandans from different countries, even if you do not have time to meet different clients or different people one-on-one. Beko alone, the people that are going to attend the function will be a lot to get contacts too. So I think it is going to be a very good thing for those that have businesses, for those that are looking for new clients, for those that are looking for new businesses. We have banks we're going to have banks like Centenary Bank. Literally, Centenary Bank coming to German, they would be targeting Ugandans that are in diaspora. And I think they're going to hit a jackpot because we will be a collection of Ugandans from all different types of the world in one place. I think for me, that would be like the best pool to get a client.
Thank you very much, Precious, for mentioning or for making the case for anyone who is thinking of joining. Yeah, so you mentioned the historical part of Berlin. Definitely, there is no other place that you can see history like Berlin. It brings the history of the First World, the Second World War. It brings the history of the fall of Berlin. So that's where you see modern and old. And for anyone who is interested in that, there is an itinerary plan which has been designed for that. People will be visiting different sites, and they'll be seeing real history in real time. You'll be seeing the history of Berlin. You'll be seeing the place where Germany, basically the conference that partitioned Africa, took place in real time, you know. So it's quite an interesting place for you to be. But we'll be talking more in the coming episodes to go in the nitty-gritties of what people should expect to see. I would like briefly again to touch on point of who is going to be there and why should someone be interested in knowing that. Oweekitiibwa Frank, tell us who are going to come on this event, from the entertaining part, from the big political and cultural names. Who should we expect to attend this event in Berlin?
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry. I'll put this into categories. Allow me to call the Ugandan delegates, then the delegates outside Uganda. I'll start with the Ugandan delegates. One, the chief person will be the Prime Minister of Uganda. Then with his cabinet, that's Oweekitiibwa Charles Peter Mayiga. Then with his cabinet, then and a team of experts as well as special dignitaries. Then we have invited other people, other professionals who will take us through the entrepreneurship, culture, marriage, and educational skills. Then we have another category that's out of Uganda, that's from Netherlands, from Sweden, then from UK and Ireland. Yeah, these will be part of the team that will come to our convention. These are basically people who love what we do, people who are there to help us. People would want to see us build culture, integrate, and have that deep communication and networking.
As you guys can hear, we're going to have the Prime Minister or the Premier, the Katikiro of Buganda, joining us, and he's in cabinet, as well as very important people from the politics, including possibly from the embassy or the ambassador of Uganda in Berlin, most likely will be joining us. Which brings me to the question now, going to the entertainment part. Precious, you basically are more suited to answer that. Who should we expect? Of course, we are targeting the young people, and the theme is basically culture and youth, or energizing the youth, or involving the youth in the cultural narrative. Who is coming, and why should the youth be interested in joining this event?
Well, we're going to have, we're expecting to have two different musicians that did a collaboration in Uganda, that they're youths and they're young, and they're very charming, I think, and very entertaining. We're expecting to have Ava Peace and Dax Vibes that will be joining us for that day. And we're going to have a wonderful DJ. I think he's the best DJ he's the best Ugandan DJ in German and in Europe as well. He's called DJ Tizo. He's going to be the one playing our music.
Great, thank you so much. So for those who are still on the edges trying to think, they're talking about culture and this stuff which do not concern me. So there is the entertainment part, of course. And these are very big brands in the Ugandan music scene that are going to join us. So I guess you have enough reason to join us as well. And since we're talking about entertainment and culture, obviously the youth are very important in this narrative. I would like to start with Frank Mutebi, and then I'll come to Mike. What role should the youth play in the continuation or the cultural preservation, even as we are far away from home? what do you think the role of the youth should be in this whole discussion? I will start with Mike, and then I'll go to Frank.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for letting me to start, because Frank would have said everything and there would be nothing left for me to say. I think the key thing for me, what I see, is continuity. The world is moving really fast, digital technology, AI, and a lot of things happening, the media as well. So it becomes very easy to lose touch of where we come from, because the youth are the ones that are going to essentially maintain the heritage. So that's the key role which I see them play here, that they come to not only be informed, but also to see, to interact. And again, essentially what we are also building here as a community within Opportunity Pulse, that connection to see that there's continuity, there's transfer of knowledge, and above all, that we don't lose ourselves. Because, yeah, most of us, we came to Germany as adults, but now we are also settling down here, getting married, having kids. Then there are also kids that have been born here. How are they continuing, keeping or maintaining their heritage, regardless of where they come from, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever? So for me, the most important role that the youth play now is that continuity of the culture, of the heritage, and seeing that it also transcends into the digital age or the world that we are today. Because the truth is, we cannot change how fast the world is moving and evolving, but then we can also do something proactively to maintain our culture and our heritage. And that's, in my opinion, the most active or the most important roles that the youth can play in, you know, both in this upcoming event, but also in general for everyone living in the diaspora.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike. Frank, what's your take on that?
I 80% or 100% agree with Mike. And I think we should not forget that the bridge between the kids today, or the youth, and the old people, more especially in the diaspora, it's getting wider and wider. So such occasions or events, they should be used as a catalyst to narrow the bridge. Why? Because Michael mentioned the digital world, which is really playing a very big role in our lives today, and also thinking the most of the youth think they belong to the digital world, which is true. But if you forget the cultural background and which role you have to play, it will not mean anything. So for me, such events, they have to be there, the youth to see why those events are being held, and to see that one day they are not going to be called the youth anymore, they are going to be parents themselves. So to start from the beginning, to understand the role of being the youth, what role I should play, not forgetting that most of our families, the culture is that the youth or the kids, they are intended to take care of their parents. So to start to learn that, yeah, it's always in a community to be strong, you need all the community components, youth, elderly people, to pass the knowledge and many things to the young ones, but also to support each other. And the more you have a united community with all components connected to each other, that makes the community even more stronger. So for me, it's very important to involve the youth in arranging such events, but also to have podium discussions with the elder, to have some exchanges, so that we really get to understand each other and to know that without one of us, one of the components, the community cannot be strong. That's my input on it.
Thank you very much, Frank. As we come to the end of this episode 1 of the podcast of Buganda Convention Berlin, I would like to ask one last question to each one of you. As this Buganda Convention is taking place in Berlin, we are not in isolation or working in isolation. We are benchmarking other communities to learn from what other communities have done and what makes other communities successful. And I would like to start with Oweekitiibwa Frank Kyambadde. What do you think should be the benchmark, or what do we expect to learn from other communities? Let's say the Indian community, the Chinese community, the Asian communities, or the Turkish community. What are they doing so good that we can learn from? Maybe this should be one of the stories we take from this event. For the people who are coming, they're going back, what should they take home with?
Thank you very much. From the Asian community, we'll basically focus on them because I've seen them. I'll look at two aspects. One is the entrepreneurship, then the community relationship. So that's what I expect us to get, all the people who are coming to get from us. One, strengthening our entrepreneurial levels, pitching ideas, learning business tricks, how to juggle around, and how to work as a team, because these people work together, and that's why they're getting powerful. Then for the community aspects, still, these people work together, they build together, they work together, they basically do literally everything together. So I would love the people who are coming in, us and them there, like we can adopt such skills through Beko. We can learn to work together as a community. We put differences aside, then we work together as a team. And basically, if those are attained, we shall live harmoniously and enjoy these fruits together. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Precious the same question.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Well, I would not add so much away from Frank, yeah. But for me, I would love to give back to people, or we as a team here, what we would give back to the youths, for example, that will attend, yeah, because we're going to have 3 different categories of people. We have the children, we have the youths, and we have the elders. So with the elders, they may not learn so much from us with the youths, but I'm looking at the youths since they hold the future of Uganda as well, Buganda at large, and German as well, yeah. So I hope that we prevail the greatest sense of brotherhood that they can take home. And I would wish that from that day, they will learn that we need each other, because my mother used to tell us that we have 5 fingers and they're not the same size. But these fingers need each other to work together to attain a certain goal, that is to hold something. So we all have different goals in life, but we are human beings and we're Ugandans and we are in a different country, in a foreign country. But what keeps us together, because there are a lot of challenges in Europe that we face, especially for those that have grown up from Uganda and have had to migrate to Germany. But what keeps you together? What holds us together? We have a lot of challenges. For example, we have the natural cause or the natural obligation of life, of nature, that is death. For example, we've had a lot of Ugandans die in Germany and their bodies get stranded, for example. That's because we are not like a team. We do not have a sense of brotherhood to hold each other together in case of need and in times of joy. That's why we're going to have a celebration on that day to show people that we're not going to be here just in times of need, but we can also be in harmony in times of joy as well. And I hope that everyone that is going to attend that function goes home with something. In Buganda, they say that now that means that the oldest bird teaches the young ones to fly. Yeah. So it is we as the youth Some of us are married, some of us are parents, and we are old enough to teach the others that, you know what, this is how things are done. For the few, for the little things we've had a chance to live and to see, let us pass it on to the new ones that have come to German. Those are still young in German. Let us pass it on to those that are still growing up, because today we are youths, tomorrow we shall be old and maybe not live anymore, but the young ones will be old and they will have something to pass on, and that is what we need to give. And I think that is why that defines Beko.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Precious. I'll ask the same question to Mike, maybe from the Nigerian perspective, but also from the perspective of someone that has had a lot to do with different cultures here. This event is about Ugandans, people of Buganda, Africans. What are we benchmarking? What can we learn from other successful communities that have successfully benefited and tapped into this huge capacity or the capital on Germany that they have used to benefit their motherland?
So I think Africans, we can do more in Germany. We can understand our strength and represent ourselves more at the forefront. If you look at the German society right now, you don't see a lot of Africans in top places. And it's not because we don't have the right qualifications, the skill sets, the strength, or the resilience. On the contrary, by default, an average African is multilingual. An average African is already used to multiple cultures. I, for example, back home growing up, I was exposed to several cultures, the Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Idoma, so many of them, and I could interact naturally. I could speak multiple languages. And these things, they already shape you in a way that you are naturally strong and resilient regardless of where you are. But I feel like when Africans, when we come here, we don't tap into our potentials. We kind of settle for less. On the contrary, the other communities which you mentioned, they do not have these natural, I would call them merits that we have, and which actually is supposed to put us even more if we would go deep into ourselves. And I think that's one thing that we can learn. From my point of view, it's really understanding the strength that we carry, the advantage. We've been talking about youth here. Africa is the continent with the youngest population in the world. The average age, if I got it correctly, is around 20 or something. Around that in Nigeria, it's around 18 years old. And across the continent, maybe the average age is around 20 years old. And we also come here as well, there's a lot of youth here. So for sure, Africans need to understand the strength that they carry, the resilience, and also the advantages which we have. It's very easy to learn a new language for us because this is something we're exposed to naturally. And if we would learn the language, understand the culture, then it opens doors to more opportunities for us. But that being aside, very importantly is to know that we come already with lots of advantages and we should tap deep into ourselves. Overall, we can do much more than we are doing. We're not tapping enough into our potentials as Africans living in Germany. And I'm hoping that in this upcoming event, bringing people from different parts of the world, different walks of life, Germany for sure has its own challenges. But then when we see other people, that we are also encouraged to know what we can do. I think Germany is still a virgin land to those of us living here, and which means the upside is really huge for us, but only if we would tap into ourselves and understand the strength which we carry. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mike. Something happened in between. I don't know why I was thrown out, but I got the gist of what you mentioned at the end. There is so much to tap into this country. I would like to ask the same question to Frank Mutebi, and then we'll be closing this because it's been a wonderful session, but we still have to close it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, members. All of you guys are 100% right. but I just need to add on, if we fail to understand the dynamics of the society we are living in, we can never tap into those opportunities Mike you are mentioning about.
Yeah.
And for me, I see this as the most point hindering most of us, most of Africans to be prosperous in Germany. And secondly, we have people who are character assassinators, selfishness. People always try to pull people down. People always prefer to be seen as the thinkers or the strategists for, let me say, for the Ugandan community. So if we don't get that selfish character out of us and use that energy to tap into resources which are very, very abundant here in Germany, Berlin, to learn how to manipulate the system, to learn where to go if I need ABCD. Everywhere in Berlin, if you need information about anything you want to do, you cannot fail to find the information. However, we always listen to people and who only tell us or say things which we need to listen to instead of knocking on German doors, organizations, institutions. Those are the people we need to go to and to get out to the opportunities. The Asian community you've mentioned, Frank, it's wonderful, working very well. I have a lot of people whom we grew up together. But those boys, girls, they understood the dynamics of the Berlin system, and they're using it out. They touch people. They are entrepreneurs in each and every sector because they have their people in those sectors. If we don't push ourselves to learn how we get into the sectors, into those offices, to have people in decision-making places, positions, we need to work to achieve that by empowering our kids, but also to get away from this kind of toxic kind of mentality, which I've personally experienced. Such people, we have a lot of people who are just selfish to tell you something good because maybe you get better. And that's what other communities, more especially Turkish community, Asian, they have tried to work towards achieving to be recognized in the German societies. Through that, they have strengthened their communities and they are contributing to the economic development of Germany and also to their home countries. If we can learn that, I think we have the potential to be even more recognized in German society and most of the communities which are good now. But from my experience, if we are better, we are going to be more accepted because, as Mike said, Africa is still a virgin country. They need young people, and we have that. They need bright people, we have that. But we need to understand the value of our human capital by tapping through the existing resources here. I think we can achieve that. And lastly but not least, when you talk about Uganda already has a very strong relationship with Germany, but most of people don't know. Even we have a Uganda street in Berlin. There's a reason why Germany has a Ugandan street. And I really like the historicals who are coming to read and understand the relationship 100 years ago, 150 ago, Germany had with Uganda. I think if we can start pulling those opportunities out, we are going to be more recognized within the German society and also using it to promote ourselves. Thank you.
Wow, I couldn't add more to that. So for those who are still wondering what you should be looking forward to, it's going to be mentorship when you come to the BECO event. It's going to be mentorship. We're going to learn what makes other communities successful. And we want to bring those opportunities back home. We're going to learn what the German culture has to offer. You've talked about, Mike and Frank have talked about the opportunities. There are opportunities in education, in finance, in investment, in taxation, in everything that you can name. So one of the things that I hope that you guys will take home with would be to learn what makes this culture, this community successful. And without wasting further time, I would like to say thank you so much. I am still the co-host, Stephen Bwete from the Uganda community in Berlin. And I'm also standing in here as the co-host of Opportunity Pulse. My co-host, Mike, I would like to give you the last word and then the closing remarks from Frank Chambade.
Great. So thank you once more, Stephen, and all our guest speakers today. This is what Opportunity Pulse stands for, helping Africans living in Germany to tap into the opportunities that exist here. The key way that we can only do this is when we interact with each other, because we come with different strengths, weaknesses, of course, but when we find a way to come together to uplift ourselves, then we can only get stronger. And this definitely is all in alignment to us taking our actual positions, tapping into the potentials that we have inside us, but also tapping into the potentials in Germany, the land of opportunities where we are. So I'm very happy that we could have this very relevant conversation. And to everyone who is watching us from all the different media platforms, we look forward to seeing you at the upcoming event in May 2026. I put the link here in the description so you can see it flying there. Please go there, check it out, sign up regardless. Stephen, non-Ugandans are welcome, right?
Of course, this is an event for all Africans, everyone who loves the culture. You're most welcome. We're going to have people from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Cameroon, from Kenya, everywhere. Please sign up and everyone is welcome. Come and experience the Ugandan culture.
Yes, please sign up, show up on that day. The first step is to show up. Just show up. Every other thing is going to add up when you show up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Frank Mutebi, Frank Chambade, Weshtiwa, would you make the final call to action?
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks, everyone. To wrap it up, I would like to invite everyone to join the call. It will be on 22nd to 24th May 2026. The place is Gloria Events. And like we have all said, this is more of a cultural event. It's a space to connect, learn, share experience, and definitely to have fun. Yeah, and I'd like to send my greetings to the chairman, our current chairman, Mwanyi Nazelinda Sekaita. She's very powerful and she's seeing that things are, she's cooking well. Then to my team here in Berlin, the Netherlands team. Then to our elders, Owechitiwa Sam Sekajugo, then Owechitiwa Nelson Mugenyi, then Owechitiwa Chibuka. Then to the Buganda Kingdom for this opportunity, and really glad. And the last word is Sabasajja Kabaka Wangale.
Awangale Sabasajja, for Mike who doesn't understand, that means long live the King of Buganda. That's what I say in conclusion to this. Thank you so much. It was an amazing opportunity to catch up with you. Thank you, Precious. Thank you, Frank Mutebi. Thank you, Frank Chambade. And everyone who's been joining us online. We see Omora who's been attending online, and everyone. And those who are going to watch this afterward. Thank you. It was a great pleasure having you all. And we look forward to having you the next episode as we're promoting this event on the 22nd to 24th of May. From my side and to Mike's, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.